Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. Let's jump right into it. Our first question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, my name's Nathan Flood, but everybody kind of calls me Nate. And I'm actually co-founder of a company, or a couple of companies actually, with a business partner of mine. We're both in the Army together. One is, we provide business consultations, and it's all just about business development, from the infrastructure all the way out to e-commerce and marketing. It's all about building up the entirety of the business stage by stage kind of thing. That's kind of how we work. And then the other business was uh, started out as just a way to create content for people, because a lot of people, they don't have training materials, they don't have web content, they don't have, and it was just easier for us just to create a service based on providing that service. And those two companies are Hexalinks Solutions and Stencil.
Very good. Question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
The best thing I found about working with a team is the fact that nobody can do everything by themselves, whether it's just because they don't have enough knowledge or there's just not enough time in the day, whatever the case may be. And so a team allows you to build off each other's strengths and weaknesses. Like my co-founder, my partner, he is an excellent, he's an expert in data analysis, data modeling, and things like that, just the whole data science realm. That stuff I know about, but I can't do it as well as he can. I'm more of the internal systems person, that keeps everything running, the day-to-day stuff. And so we play off each other's strengths and weaknesses, and it allows us to do a whole lot more than we normally would.
And I know that you believe in these principles because on your LinkedIn profile, and we were talking about this before we started the recording, but you actually put on there that a lot of the reason for your success is because you've formed great teams. So I know that you're a true believer and a good follower of such advice. So great.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell us your thoughts.
The thing that I picked up on mostly when I was in the Army, and then moving past that, was getting buy-in is something that you have to let people take ownership of what you're doing, right? You can't just bark out orders and tell them what to do. You have to explain to them why it's beneficial. How can this build value for not only them, but the company or the organization that they're in? Why does this menial task equal into a valuable thing to have to do within the project that you're working on? That kind of stuff is how you get people engaged, because it makes them, at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel part of something bigger than what they are, right? Like, that's just it. And making people feel that way, whether it's for a small project or a large one, is paramount in getting people engaged. Otherwise, they're just there to collect a paycheck and, check the box on the day, and that's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, thank you for your service in the Army. We appreciate your service.
No, you're mighty welcome.
Question number 4, what other piece of advice would you give to leaders of teams?
The best thing I say is start with a good foundation. There's a lot of things that you can pull into this, but for me, starting with a good foundation is important. Going ahead and documenting everything that you do when you start to put the team together. How did you go about selecting people? How did you go about organizing them? Looking at building that communication foundation. What software are you going to use to communicate with one another and collaborate on projects? What are your schedules going to be like? Things of that nature. Just that good foundation, and like I said, just documenting everything, creating SOPs, creating protocols, creating procedures, and those can always be updated as you go, obviously. But doing that will help you be able to expand that team, ultimately any direction that you want to, instead of, hey, we're going to expand the team and now we're going to go back and fix everything that's wrong with it.
That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. Question number 5, what other successful leaders of teams, such as yourself, would you like to recognize that have had a positive influence in your life?
Well, that would be my co-founder, Damian Marshall. We kind of connected in the Army, in the sense of we looked at things with a different perspective from everybody else. We're constantly looking to drive things forward. When we go to work for a business, we don't just fill whatever need they say they have. We explain to them, hey, we can fill this need, but this is what you need to look at for the next, 2, 3, 5 years kind of thing, stuff like that. Like for instance, me and him got to working on a project where we could have selected a ERP system for this company that would have got them through for the next 2 or 3 years, but then they would have had to, redo their systems again. Instead, we put them on an enterprise level system, and it's a little bit too much right now, but they're going to grow into it based off the growth plan. And me and him just having that mindset that's what has to happen instead of just filling that immediate need is the reason why we do well for each other.
Well, he sounds like a great partner for you. You've got some great synergy going together. So that's
Oh
great.
yeah. We work really well together.
Very good. Last question. Tell us a little bit about your first job.
My first job was actually the family business. I grew up. My dad, he basically grew up as well as we're third generation, me and my brothers, but in the wholesale automotive business. And what it is we would go to the dealer auctions and buy used automotives and fix whatever was wrong with them, sell them to buy here, pay here car lots, new car dealerships, that kind of thing. So we kind of helped drive that wholesale part of the industry in the automotive industry, and that was that's where I picked up a lot of my business acumen. Going back and forth to the auctions and learning how the systems work and learning how you can make money and how to just because you can invest a lot of money into this product and sell it for a lot doesn't mean that that's necessarily your best money maker. I use Ford as a perfect example. They've never been a luxury brand, but they've always been a brand that sold to the masses. And you can make a lot more money selling to the masses than you can a select few. And that was just that kind of, that business acumen that I picked up. That was my first job.
That's awesome. I always love hearing about the first jobs because of the lessons that people learn from there. So you shared some great ones. Thank you. Well, Nate, thank you so much for being on the podcast. How can people find you?
The best place to reach me actually is on my LinkedIn profile. Just look up Nathan Flood, or you can go to Hexalinks Solutions company page. That's the best place to reach us because we do most of our engagement and stuff through LinkedIn.
Perfect. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.